It's one thing falling in love with a house, picturing yourself moving in and calling it home, and quite another navigating the world of price negotiating, mortgage lenders, and finding the budget that works best for you. An agent who's a Realtor can make understanding that world easier. Realtors have the expertise, access to proprietary data, and tools to help you get from imagining living somewhere to actually doing it. That's the kind of help we can provide. Because that's who we are. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the friendly neighborhood baritone from Jurassic 5 and also Motley fame, Mr. Charlie Tuna, and you're listening to The Library on rapstation.com.
Scene 1. Fort Collins, Colorado. So now our rhyming hero found himself there, making these full throttle.
Everything just started to happen for me personally about 2-3 years ago.
Right.
I just started to
Rapper, producer, with a new album out, Runaway Train, We'll See. Welcome to And You Don't Stop with Chuck D and my segment, The Library with Tim Einenkel.
Hello, hello.
Let's start from the beginning. This is a new album. It's called a concept album. How did it come to? How'd you come up with this idea for this album?
Oh man, well, the basic idea is that it's a storybook record was the phrase I used, and I just remember being really young and having a record player at my parents', growing up in my parents' house, and 45 or tons of 45s that were just narratives on a record. The ones that would be like,
you will know it is time to turn the page when you hear the chime ring like this. Let's begin now.
Because I had one called the Saggy Baggy Elephant, and it's just such a warm, fuzzy feeling of being a kid. So this album is kind of paying homage to that, a storybook record, a narrative with some hip-hop production. Instead of me doing lyrics, it's just a story.
Everybody's got a personal path, and it seems to be working out so great with everybody individually, Everybody's just going right to the source and just having a ball.
Right, and there's no hang-up.
Revitalization of total life.
How hard is that to? I mean, the album prior to this, Eli's Prism, was we could just say a straight hip hop album, where you had production, you had lyrics, you had features and stuff like that. How hard is it to, I guess, convey your message without using lyrics? And was there ever a time where you're like, if I could just throw out this concept and just write some lyrics down, that would be great?
Honestly, at the time, no, I was not thinking lyrics at all. And now I'm kind of in that mode a little bit, but to give you the most honest answer, I love hip-hop, and it's taken up such a large chunk of my life for what I listen to, and I spent such a great part of my youth listening to rap music that it's what I do for music. It's a craft I've spent a lot of time on, and but working on this storybook record, I didn't want to write any lyrics at the time, and that's kind of a dilemma. And when you have that dilemma but still want to create music, you have to keep steamrolling and making music. And if lyrics aren't involved, you have to come up with some way to make an album, and that's what I came up with. And it was such a breath of fresh air. I had so much fun.
This trip you took, it took you to Fort Collins, Colorado. Mm-hmm. Was that your initial destination? And I guess did the album idea come up prior to you leaving to go to Fort Collins, or did it happen? 6 months in, 8 months in. When did it hit you? Like, I am doing this album.
I think it came as a title first. As far as being in Colorado, I got here August of last year, as I said, and it was such a change. I spent my whole life in New England, and mostly I say Southern Maine is where I spent my first 18 years, but the states are clumped together there, so that's about an hour and 15 minutes from Boston. So when I was 18, I moved to Boston, and that was the place to go, being into hip-hop, and there being a scene there with 7L and Esoteric and other people that I was into. I went there, and I spent 6 years there, but after 6 years, just not wanting to be a one trick. I don't know. I just needed to change. It's only an hour and 15 minutes away from my home, so
right.
I had a friend in Colorado, and he encouraged me to come to Fort Collins. Said it was a great town, and luckily he was right. I came there, and it's a very nice town. It's 2,000 miles away from my home, which isn't the most epic of journeys, but for me, it's a very epic journey to be that far away from core family. It's been an emotional year and a creative year because it brings that out of you. For me, that's a big step, and I think it's helped inspire some nice things. And I'm happy with Runaway Train being the first of hopefully a few.
And so you're a few storybook concepts, or a few just kind of whatever, something different?
No, yeah, I don't think I'll repeat the storybook record concept. I try not to do something so similar, back to back like that. I don't think it will be a narrative like that. For what's to come next is a couple different projects already in motion, and not some of them aren't at all similar to each other. So I'm hoping people will like them. I'm hoping I won't alienate anybody who already likes my music, but hopefully not.
Eli's Prism kind of introduced, like I said, introduced us to you as a lyricist. Mm-hmm. After doing this album, Runaway Train, have you found your calling? Have you found are you seeing that maybe I'm not a lyricist as much as I thought I was? Maybe I'm more of a producer. Maybe I'm more, a sound guy. Mm-hmm. Have you? What is your? Do you think you will go back to lyricism, or is it just kind of you're moving on to something different?
I still think of lyrics all the time, even this morning, but I see myself not being in that arena for the bulk of my future, to tell you the truth. I really like writing lyrics, and I don't think I suck at it. I don't think I'm the best who ever did it, obviously. I really spent a lot of time writing lyrics carefully, and I've really enjoyed freeing myself up to work on production and also learn the piano in the past couple of years, and now move on to attempting to lay out chord structures and arranging songs and harmony, and just it's allowed myself to participate in the creative side of making music. But lyrics, writing rap lyrics, it's been over 10 years at this point that I've done that, and I'm comfortable, and there's just a lot of them out there at this time with the internet, a lot of artists out there, and it really saturated the market for rapping. It's just not really. I'm happy with what I put out there, and I hope people who like it. I hope people discover it in the future and like it, and I don't really need to say a whole lot more.
Right.
Yeah. If I do, I'll say something, and hopefully it won't come out awkward.
I was speaking to Will C. He just produced, created a new album called Runaway Train, storybook album. So Will, this is an album, as we've spoken about, is just kind of made up entirely of sound, old movies, records, whatever. I have a feeling that I'm gonna have to listen to a lot more just to kind of really grasp what the concept or the entire concept of the album. So how would someone who's familiar with your work listen to the album, or how someone that actually has never touched a storybook album before, how would they listen to the album? And then what do you want them to gain from it?
Well, I always hope that someone will find a good moment in their lives to sit down with the album, maybe with a pair of headphones, or just with few distractions. We're just in a world where it's very distraction prone as far as looking at your monitor screen on a computer or the TV or whatever. But I think it lends itself to a nice listen where you immerse yourself in music, and that's what I like to do. I like to craft dense production, and by the time I'm done doing what I'm doing, it's the way you just spoke about the album. It sounds like it takes a little bit of digesting. I don't do it on purpose to make it something complex or far left field, but it's just a slice of something that can be hopefully, appreciated on multiple listens as far as production value, and also the story. I provided, when the album ends, an entire repeat of the album.
Yeah.
Sans narrative, sans dialogue. It's not even that important to me that you follow the story. I mean, you can if you want. It's there because I like to try to give you something. If people are gonna support an artist these days, or at least spread the word about them existing to other people, I don't know, there's just something that will hopefully reward multiple listens. If you want to zone out to the instrumentals, they're there. But if you want to hear about pretty much a made-up story about what's going on with me in Colorado, it's just a silly legend story to just tell,
Cool. Rapper, producer, new album, Runaway Train. We'll see. Thanks so much for joining me today on The Library with Tim Heinecke on And You Don't Stop with Chuck D.
Thank you so much, Tim. I appreciate it.
So what happened then?
We were there early in the year. Was it February? We were there in February. We just loved being there.
Colorado.
And it just occurred to us that we could record anywhere we wanted to record. So we moved over for the summer. I lived there for 7 months. It just was a very creative time for me. And I remember leaving the house early in the afternoon and coming home when the sun was coming up in the morning, when the days were very long in the summer. I rode my bike to the studio one day, about 10 miles or more. It was really a real good experience for me, very spiritual time for me also.
The opportunity to travel around the world a few times and meet many people and really learn to love this place and the people in it. And I think that's a really incredible gift.
Do you ever get the feeling that the years have gone by too fast?
Well, no, I don't think so. I feel very fortunate. I've been blessed with a life that affords me the opportunity to really do a lot of things.
It's up to your department to do something about this situation in Colorado. It's becoming intolerable.
I don't think it's a question of men, General. What we need is just one man. A man who can find out who's back of all this recent trouble in Colorado. Once that's done, the thing's as good as settled.
It's one thing falling in love with a house, picturing yourself moving in and calling it home, and quite another navigating the world of price negotiating, mortgage lenders, and finding the budget that works best for you. An agent who's a Realtor can make understanding that world easier. Realtors have the expertise, access to proprietary data, and tools to help you get from imagining living somewhere to actually doing it. That's the kind of help we can provide. Because that's who we are. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.